Battle looms in Ukraine's east. Washington commits to weapon supply. Kyiv, Buzova, Ukraine, April 10. Russian forces continued shelling targets in eastern Ukraine on Sunday as Washington destroyed the headquarters of Ukraine's Dnipro battalion in the town of Zvonetsky. Russia could not immediately confirm the report. Reuters could not immediately confirm the reports. Since Russia invaded, Zelensky has appealed to Western powers to provide more defense help and to punish Moscow with tough sanctions. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told ABC News, "We're going to get Ukraine the weapons it needs to beat back the Russians to stop them from taking more cities and towns." In extracts from an interview with CBS's 60 Minutes, Zelensky said he had confidence in his own armed forces, but unfortunately, I don't have the confidence that we will be receiving everything we need from the United States. Zelensky said earlier on Twitter he had spoken on the phone with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz about additional sanctions, as well as more defense and technical financial support for his country. Zelensky also discussed with Ukrainian officials at Kyiv's proposals for a new package of EU sanctions, his office said. Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer, who met Zelensky in Kyiv on Saturday, will travel to Russia to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday, the Austrian government said. He will be the first European Union leader to have a face-to-face meeting with Putin since the invasion. In a video address late on Saturday, Zelensky renewed his appeal for a total ban on Russian energy products and more weapons for Ukraine. The EU on Friday banned Russian coal imports, among other products, but has yet to touch oil and gas. Moscow has rejected accusations of war crimes by Ukraine and Western countries. Moscow has repeatedly denied targeting civilians in what it calls a special operation to demilitarize and denazify its southern neighbor. Ukraine and Western nations have dismissed this as a baseless pretext for war. Russia's invasion has forced about a quarter of Ukrainians, 44 million people, from their homes, turned cities into rubble, and killed or injured thousands. Some cities in the east were under heavy shelling, with tens of thousands of people unable to evacuate. Calls by Ukrainian officials for civilians to flee gained more urgency after a missile strike hit a train station on Friday in the city of Kramatorsk in the Donetsk region that was full of people trying to leave. Ukrainian officials said more than 50 people were killed. Russia has denied responsibility, saying the missiles used in the attack were only used by Ukrainians' military. Reuters was unable to verify the details of the attack. Residents of the region of Luhansk would have 9 trains on Sunday to get out on. The region's governor Charlie Pecot wrote on the Telegram message service. In a Palm Sunday homily, Pope Francis called for an Easter truce in Ukraine, and in an apparent reference to Russia, questioned the value of planting a victory flag on a heap of rubble. At a sermon in Moscow, Patriarch Kirill, the head of Russia's Orthodox Church and a close ally of President Vladimir Putin, called on people to rally. Battle looms in Ukraine's east. Washington commits to weapon supply. Kyiv, Buzova, Ukraine, April 10. Russian forces continued shelling targets in eastern Ukraine on Sunday, as Washington said it would meet Kyiv's request for more military aid by providing the weapons it needs to defend itself against Russia. Russia has failed to take any major cities since it launched its invasion on February 24, but Ukraine says it has been gathering its forces in the east for a major assault and has urged people to flee. Russian forces fired rockets into Ukraine's Luhansk and Dnipro. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday, the Austrian government said. He will be the first European leader to have a face-to-face meeting with Putin since the invasion. In a video address late on Saturday, Zelensky renewed his appeal for a total ban on Russian energy products and more weapons for Ukraine. The EU on Friday banned Russian coal imports, among other products, but has yet to touch oil and gas imports from Russia. Mounting civilian casualties have triggered widespread international condemnation and new sanctions. A grave with at least 2 civilian bodies has been found in Buzova village near Kyiv, said Taras Didich, head of the Dmitrivka community that includes Buzova, the latest such reported discovery since Russian forces withdrew from areas north of the capital under heavy shelling, with tens of thousands of people unable to evacuate. Calls by Ukrainian officials for civilians to flee gained more urgency after a missile strike hit a train station on Friday in the city of Kramatorsk in the Donetsk region that was full of people trying to leave. Ukrainian officials said more than 50 people were killed. Russia has denied responsibility, saying the missiles used in the attack were only used by Ukraine's military. Reuters was unable to verify the details of the attack. Residents of the region of Luhansk would have 9 trains on Sunday to get out on, the region's governor, Charlie Pecot, wrote on the Telegram message service. Macron and Le Pen head for French election runoff, projections show. Paris, April 10. France's incumbent leader Emmanuel Macron and far-right challenger Marine Le Pen are heading for an April 24 presidential election runoff, projections showed after first-round voting on Sunday. Macron garnered 28.1 to 29.5% of votes in the first round, while Le Pen won 23.3 to 24.4%, according to separate estimates by pollsters. Vote on April 24 against the far right of Marine Le Pen, said Hidalgo. Pecot warned of disastrous consequences if Macron did not win the runoff. But another far-right candidate, Eric Zemmour, will call on supporters to back Le Pen. Marianne Marshall, who is an ally of Zemmour and Le Pen's niece, told BFM TV. To cheers of supporters chanting, "We will win, we will win," Le Pen said she wanted to unite all French. The runoff will be a choice of civilization, she said, adding that her platform would protect the weak and make France independent. Not for 2 decades has a French president won a second term. Barely a month ago, Macron was on course to comfortably reverse that, riding high in polls thanks to strong economic growth, a fragmented opposition, and his statesman role in trying to avert war in Europe's eastern flank. But he paid a price for late entry into the campaign, during which he eschewed market walkabouts in provincial France in favor of a single big rally outside Paris. A plan to make people work longer also proved unpopular, enabling Le Pen to narrow the gap in opinion polls. She, by contrast, for months toured towns and villages across France, focusing on cost of living issues that trouble millions and tapping into anger towards the political elite. Marine Le Pen knew how to talk to people about their more concrete problems. During the next 2 weeks, he will have to pay more attention to what is happening in France and take a diplomatic break, said Alain Thierry, a 23-year-old supporter for European integration, to being led by a Eurosceptic who is also suspicious of the NATO military alliance. While Le Pen has ditched past ambitions for a Frexit or to haul France out of the Eurozone's single currency, she envisages the EU as a mere alliance of sovereign states. In past French elections in 2002 and 2017, voters on the left and right have united to block the far right from power. However, surveys suggest that the so-called Republican front has crumbled, with many left-wing voters saying they are loath to endorse a leader they deride as arrogant and a president of the rich. "We want change, so why not give her a chance in round two," technician Alex Talcone said in a Paris suburb of Bobigny after voting for hard-left candidate Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Musk proposes Twitter Blue subscription shake-up days after disclosing 9.2% Twitter stake. April 9. Elon Musk, Twitter's biggest shareholder, on Saturday suggested a raft of changes to the social media giant's Twitter Blue premium subscription service, including slashing its price, banning advertising, and giving an option to pay in the cryptocurrency Dogecoin. Musk, who disclosed the 9.2% stake in Twitter just days ago, was offered a seat on its board of directors, a move which made some Twitter employees panic over the future of its ability to moderate content chargebacks, and suspended with no refund if used for scam or spam, Musk said in a tweet. And no ads, Musk suggested. The power of corporations to dictate policy is greatly enhanced if Twitter depends on advertising money to survive. Musk also proposed an option to pay with Dogecoin and asked Twitter users for their views. Twitter declined to comment on Musk's suggestions. The company already lets people tip their favorite content creators using Bitcoin. Twitter had said last year that it planned to support authentication for NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, which are digital assets such as images or videos that exist on a blockchain. Musk also started a poll on his Twitter account, which has more than 81 million followers, asking whether the firm's San Francisco headquarters should be converted to a homeless shelter as no one shows up for its work there. The poll got more than 300,000 votes in an hour, with 90% answering yes. New York AG seeks to compel real estate firm to comply with Trump probe subpoenas. New York, April 8. New York State's Attorney General is seeking to compel real estate company Cushman & Wakefield to comply with subpoenas in connection with its civil probe into the Trump Organization, according to court filings on Friday. Attorney General Letitia James has been investigating former U.S. President Donald Trump's business practices for 3.5 years, with a focus on whether his company misstated the values of its real estate properties to obtain favorable loans and tax deductions. James said on Friday that Cushman had conducted appraisals for several Trump Organization properties, including the Seven Springs estate. Any suggestion that Cushman & Wakefield has not responded in good faith to the Attorney General's investigation is fundamentally untrue, the spokesperson said in a statement. "We stand behind our appraisals and our work." Cushman said in January 2021 that it had cut ties with the Trump Organization. Trump, a Republican who lost his bid for re-election in November 2020, denies wrongdoing and has dismissed James's probe as politically motivated witch hunt. James, a Democrat, is running for re-election for her post. James' pursuit of Cushman's records comes after she asked a New York judge to hold Trump in contempt of court for not turning over documents she has subpoenaed, and to fine him $10,000 for each day he does not comply. On Friday, New York State Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron said he would hold a hearing on April 25 on whether Trump should be held in contempt. Tunisians protesters accuse president of failed dictatorship. Tunis, April 10. Tunisians on Sunday protested against President Kais Saied, accusing him of imposing one-man rule in the North African country after he summoned the main opposition figure, Rachid Ghannouchi, and other lawmakers for questioning, prompting criticism from abroad as well as at home. Ghannouchi, who is the parliament speaker and head of Islamist Ennahda party, said other virtual sessions would be convened. A delegation from the European Parliament will visit Tunisia on Monday to urge the return of the democracy established after the 2011 revolution that ended the autocratic rule of the late President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. Said took control of executive power in the middle of last year and has ruled by decree, which his opponent described as a coup. He has rejected his opponent's accusations and said he would hold talks on political reforms, but that traitors and thieves would not participate. Said has previously said he would form a committee to rewrite the Constitution, but put it to a referendum in July and then hold parliamentary elections in December. The country's two main parties, Ennahda and Free Constitutional, which are bitterly opposed, have both said they will oppose those plans.